due to a string of issues with YouTube, my channel has been unfortunately demonetized for quite a while. So if you do enjoy my reactions and my content, I'll be moving to a different channel once it hits 500 subscribers. The channel link will be down in the description. Sorry for taking up your time. Enjoy the rest of the video. Hey, what's up doggos? Welcome back to another Genshin playthrough reaction. I don't usually do recordings this late, but here I am. Oh man, has it been a long while since we've had a hangout? The last one we got was Hazo. Even Inazuma didn't delay like them starting to release story hangouts for characters for that long. But like, wow, there has not been a lot of hangouts for Sumeru at all. Last time Hazo's hangout was, holy shit, that's long ago. There's actually nothing there. I'm staring at nothing. But I'm probably gonna slap a PNG here. And when I did Hazo's reaction, I was still back in China. 7 months ago we had Hazo's. Dude. And they've decided to start with the Sumeru Hangout series with Faruzan, which is weird because, I mean, I'm not complaining. Faruzan's a very interesting character based on her lore. But like, I would have thought they'd start with someone like Collei, or I don't mind doing a hangout quest where I get to hang out with Hatsune Miku, so it's not that bad. Been a while. I'm looking forward to doing this actually. Hangout event, Faruzan, a confronting conundrum. 5 endings. That's a very cool logo. A mysterious senior. Go to Pardis Dhyai. Tighnari is at Pardis Dhyai, waiting for a certain mysterious senior. Senior, because technically speaking, Faruzan never aged. It's just that it was a time skip, so if you put it in a way, she did survive 100 years longer than anyone else has. And she's of Haravatat, actually. Haravatat is the doctrine that focuses on linguistics and, you know, ancient language, ancient deciphering text and stuff.
Even though most of the academia's restrictions have significantly relaxed, I'm still a bit worried that the Matra might give her trouble. I need to stay here to keep an eye on the situation. Collei, can you head to Sumeru City and find out why she isn't here yet?
Oh, Collei's here?
Does it have to be me?
I'd only assign a job this important to someone I trust. Are you not feeling well?
Oh no, I'm fine. I've completely recovered. It's just that if I'm going to see her, I think I need to mentally prepare myself first.
Is Faruzan that intimidating?
I know. You'll have a tough time if you go by yourself. If we could arrange for someone to accompany you...
Oh, no way, what a coincidence. Traveler here to save the day for like the gazillionth time because everyone in Teyvat is so dependent on an extraterrestrial being. In a predicament, I see.
Oh, hey there!
Hi.
It's been a while. What a coincidence. I was just thinking about asking you to accompany Collei to Sumeru City.
Why'd you think of me? What made you think I have time on my hands? That's a bit...
Sorry, that's not what I meant. It's just that this matter concerns research banned by the academia. Not the sort of thing you'd shout from the rooftops.
Karkata.
You might have heard about her in Sumeru before. Her name is Faruzan, and she's a very experienced senior researcher.
When you say very experienced...
Let's just say that a huge part of Ksharowar's mechanical research over the past 100 years have used her academic discourse and manuscripts as their foundation.
100 years? Is she human? Faruzan is human, right? What I am most concerned about, being trapped there for 100 years and then coming out. Dude, everyone she probably knew who were friends with, heck, her family would have passed away by then. How does she mentally cope with that?
But she vanished for 100 years because of a certain incident. She only returned to the academia after being found in the wilderness a few years ago. Because of that, her current personality can be a bit strange, as is her attitude towards Collei.
I'm getting a headache just thinking about it.
Do we really have to invite her here?
Yes, Ksharovar and Spontamod researchers are often quite prejudiced, so I can't trust them with this matter.
Right, so you need a Haravatat.
However, Faruzan isn't influenced by modern thinking. In our previous correspondence through letters, she indicated that she'd be willing to help. It's already past our arranged meeting time, but she still hasn't shown up.
Did she get caught by the academia?
I don't think so. With her personality, it's more likely that she got wrapped up in some sort of trouble.
I can imagine her arguing like a Karen.
Can you go with Collei to the academia and check on Faruzan for me?
Sure thing.
Thank goodness. I was so anxious.
I'm counting on you too. Collei, don't push yourself too hard. Just go there and see what's going on.
God, I need to remember to do this every single time.
I see everything.
I do hope Madame Faruzan is able to find time as soon as possible.
Now I need to remember to always have Nahida out for every single quest occasion.
Oh, yes, and one more thing. You might find her difficult to get along with at first. However, if you address her as Madam, she'll become much easier to talk to.
Right, that was stated in her demo.
Sorry, what did you say? Oh, could you repeat yourself? As you know, I'm sure. Hearing goes with age.
Oh my god.
Faruzan, I said that you need to give us an answer.
Yes. And did you forget to add Madam when you addressed me earlier?
Your hearing is perfectly fine. Madam Faruzan, we don't want to make things difficult for you. However, you haven't been teaching courses or supervising theses these past few years. Isn't this rather problematic as an advisor? Never mind the students, even other advisors are starting to complain.
And who, if I may ask, complained? If they have any issue with me, tell them to talk to me themselves rather than waste any of your time.
Wow, she is really bossy.
You don't have to tell me anything. I very well know that it's those people from Haravatat.
Oh, it's sad,
How I
Ruzan.
wish they'd put their time into doing proper research instead.
But Madam
What's considered
Faruzan, it
fair
has been a long
research?
while since you last made any practical academic contribution yourself.
Academic contribution cannot simply be divided between the tangible and the intangible. The issue here, I believe, is that the reviewer doesn't understand the very nature of knowledge itself.
Uh-huh.
Which sage set this rule anyway? I should write a letter of complaint right this instant.
Oh boy, she is a Karen, isn't she? A Karen that's cuter than most of the real-life Karens, but still a Karen.
Madam Faruzan, please let me finish.
I want to write to your academic leader!
That's her, all right. But the person with her doesn't look like a Matra.
She looks so young.
Shh! She hates it when people call her young.
Uh-oh.
Her body apparently stopped aging during the year she was gone. So that's why she looks the same as she did 100 years ago.
So she disappeared for 100 years. What in the world happened to her?
Anyway, Akara Crafts and the leader of Kasharawar would like to invite you to collaborate on this project. They're wondering if you'd be interested. Madam Faruzan, are you listening?
Mm-hmm. Ah, Collei! Why are you here at the academia? Are you feeling better now?
Aw, what the? That's such a cute gesture. She's making a heart. Like that. Like I said, cute, but still a Karen.
I'm much better, Madame Faruzan. It's all thanks to the Traveler and the Dendro Archon. Have you been sleeping well? You seem to be developing some eye bags. Is that brat Tighnari forcing you to stay up late again?
Brats?
No, it's because I'm a slow learner. It's not Master's fault.
What does she have against our boy?
It's good to be hardworking, but you need to take care of your health. I'll have to give Tighnari a right talking to when I see him. I'll also prepare some health supplements for you.
She's really trying so hard to act her age. Well, her age.
Ah, and is the person beside you the legendary Traveler?
Pleasure to meet your acquaintance, madam.
Oh, I've heard much about you before. In fact, I've been meaning to meet you for a while now.
Oh, well, the pleasure's all mine.
It is thanks to you, after all, that the academia is finally getting back on its feet. Even Collei's illness is...
Madam Faruzan,
Right,
I
finish your
believe
business
we were still
first.
discussing the collaboration with Akara Crafts.
Don't need to make this poor student wait any longer, right?
I'd wager it's those Kasharawar dunderheads finding excuses so that I'd go to their darshan. Say no more. I have no plans to change my field of research.
Oh.
If you're this unwilling to participate in the collaborative project, you can also consider teaching a class. It might be difficult to teach a course with topics
just-
that only fall within Haravatat's
You're just gonna
subjects,
reject
but we
them like
can't
that?
delay this anymore. You need to give an answer.
You better be unemployed soon, Faruzan. You gotta...
You can teach a course or participate in a collaborative project. If you don't do either, it'll be hard for me to persuade the advisors and students who have been complaining.
This sounds like some internal academia dispute. This seems to have nothing to do with Tighnari's request.
Could you not give me a few more days to consider? This matter has been delayed for so long already.
That's precisely the issue. If you don't give an answer today, I fear that someone will soon escalate their complaints to the sages.
What a waste of free time these folks are. Now you two are here at Tighnari's behest, I take it. I'm sorry, but given the current situation, it looks like I'll have to come over some other day.
Oh, well, that's the hangout, guys.
What now? She seems so busy. Master said there's no rush, but I know that he's been busy working on something at Pardis Dhyai, so he hasn't returned to Gandharville for several days now. I feel for Madame Faruzan, but I still want to ask her to come with us.
Well, I am pretty persuasive.
But if I get her in trouble with the academia, then she won't have the time to help Master. What should I do? Oh, this is such a headache.
Don't worry, I always have a solution. Let's help her resolve her current problem first. Let's think of some way to get her to Pardis Dhyai. This might be a deviating choice. I'm guessing each one of these is gonna lead down a different path. Let's help her settle her issue first, alright? You know, we don't want her to be kicked out of the academia because she wants to do things her way. Let's help her keep her job.
Best for them both. I'll check with Master later and see if there's anything I can help him with. But I'm sure he'll say, the best thing you can do now is study hard, so I don't have to give you remedial lessons.
I can stay and help Faruzan.
Huh? Oh yes! This way she can get her problem sorted out quickly, and then she can go see Master. So if I also stay and help... that still sounds kinda scary.
You don't have to force yourself. Let's observe the situation first.
Okay then. I'm counting on you. We're back, Madame Faruzan. The Traveler said that she can stay and help you.
Oh, why I couldn't ask for more. In fact, I'm rather curious about the type of person the Traveler is. You were the one who taught Azara a lesson after all. That said, will I be troubling you?
There's no trouble at all. I specialize in solving problems. If it's for the primos, anything's worth the time.
Should I apply to teach a course with Haravatat? Or join the collaborative project that Kosharawar is proposing? Honestly, I don't want to choose either of them.
Oh, maybe this is the deviating choice. Ah, yeah, this definitely feels like it. Tell me more about that Haravatat course. Let's hear what this Kosharawar collaborative project is about. Project is a between collab with the academia and Akara Crafts, I believe. Which is, Akara Crafts is the same bunch of guys who did that whole event where we made a toy Aranara, and I kind of like those guys, so we'll go for this first.
She has been invited to Kosharawar multiple times to continue her research, but she's rejected them each time.
Just listen to how they introduce themselves. In the future, Kosharawar will be the only Darshan with the ability to research mechanisms. There's no such thing as exclusivity in knowledge.
Okay, that does sound like they're flexing.
If they're trying to use the collaborative project as an excuse to have me reconsider again...
No, that's not it. The request this time is from Akara Crafts. The representative of Kosharawar recommended you to them, Madame Faruzan. In truth, she told me that it's because she respects you a lot.
Oh, respect? Oh, my.
Okay.
Putting aside my ideological differences with Kosharawar, I suppose I must acknowledge this attitude of theirs. At the very least, they're bounds above those decrepit Haravatat fools.
It wouldn't hurt to hear them out.
Yeah, Akara Crafts is a pretty nice shop.
Well, since both of you feel as such, I shall first hear this proposal.
In summary, Akara Crafts wants to design a series of early learning toys that will cultivate curiosity and learning in children.
Oh, more toys.
Early learning toys. Interesting.
The academia agreed to work with them because they hope that these toys can help children become excellent researchers in the future.
Ah.
True. The current academia is in need of some new blood. If the children start learning now, perhaps I can find some talented students in a few years.
Madame Faruzan, You still haven't found any students?
Anise, Kasharawar's representative, should be staying in the inn at Port Ormos. If you want more details, you can find her there.
I'll take you there. I can help you out.
Thank you. Why, I'd even call this a rare chance for a curious researcher like myself to observe the legendary traveler up close.
Madame Faruzan! It's really you! Did you change your mind?
All right, calm down. Let me be clear. I'm still not all that interested in Kasharawar. I'm just here to see how the project is going. After all, you're here as representatives of the academia in this collaboration. The reputation of all research is at stake here, so I will not simply stand by should mistakes get made.
Either way, it's good that you were willing to come. Now, we've given Akara Crafts many ideas over the past couple of days.
Right.
However, their owner thinks that our designs are too complicated, which will drive production costs too far.
Well, I mean, you are in the Darshan that focuses on architecture, isn't it?
No.
That's expected. Students who have never had to deal with budgetary constraints probably don't understand how important it is to keep costs low. How enviable. Oh,
By any chance, has it been very difficult for you to get funding for your research?
If you join the Kasharawar, your budget will be as big as you want it to be. I guarantee it.
That's enough. I will not repeat myself. Take me to Akara Crafts owner first, if you please.
Okay.
All right. He's usually at the slope up ahead recruiting volunteers to test out his toys. Let's just head over.
She sounded a little pissed for some reason.
Oh, so you're, Madame Faruzan?
Yes, that's me.
I know, she's short.
Ah, wonderful. We haven't been able to make any progress on our collaboration recently. We've made many suggestions, but Miss Anise thought that those ideas were too simple and wouldn't be effective in training the mind.
These early learning toys are meant to help the academia train future researchers, after all. If they're too simple, then how are they any different from regular toys?
But if they're too complicated, not only will they be expensive to produce considering our production capabilities, but they won't have much broad appeal to Sumeru's children either.
So the design can't be too complicated, but it can't be too easy to play with either.
I mean, I thought a Rubik's Cube would do just fine, but... Oh well, Teyvat has its own laws.
Do you have a pen, paper, and scissors? I'll make a paper prototype.
You have an idea already? I suppose I should have expected as much of a respected academia senior researcher.
You're gonna do
We do have those.
origami?
Yes, please, help yourself.
A few moments later.
What did she make? That exists already. That's just your simple, like...
Let me explain. These 3 thick lines represent 3 poles. These paper strips of varying lengths represent rings of different sizes. They can be slotted onto the poles and stacked up like a tower.
Well, that is easier to make than I expected. So, how is this game played?
These people don't know this kind of... Okay.
That's very simple as well. You just need to shift the tower from this pole to another pole.
Isn't this a little too simple? Even by the standards of an early learning toy, I mean.
Of course, when moving each ring, the paper strips in this case, you must follow one rule. You can only move 1 ring at a time, and you can't place a bigger ring on top of a smaller one.
Not as simple as it looks.
It's like building a tower. The rings in the 3 poles must be stacked from big to small. I named this toy Pagoda Stack.
Ain't no way she's the one that invented this.
Give it a try and you'll find out if it's simple or not. I heard from Anise that you find volunteers to try out the toys, right? Why don't we do the same for this game?
Mandu gathers nearby volunteers together and Faruzan explains the rules.
And
to
that's
them.
how you play this game.
Oh,
You can all give it a try.
volunteers as in
Let's
kids.
see who's able to move the tower to another pole in the smallest number of steps.
You called everyone here for such a simple toy?
It doesn't look like it'll take that many steps.
Come on, we all promised to help Mr. Mamdu test out the new toys. He said he'd give us new Genius Invocation TCG cards.
Ooh, I'd like that. So they were lured in by the promise of a different toy. So they were all lured in by the promise of new cards.
Ugh, fine. Let's get this over and done with so we can head back and play cards.
The children start to play with the pagoda stack.
Done! It took me 19 steps.
Huh? It took me over 20 steps.
I only needed 18 steps.
Not bad. Looks like you're all familiar with the rules now. Then let's increase the difficulty. The next tower will be 5 layers tall. Now then, give it a shot.
Oh. It's not like the most complicated thing in the world, right?
An extra layer shouldn't make it that much harder, right?
Famous last words.
What's going on? I've already moved over 30 steps, but I'm still not done yet.
I'm almost done. Looks like I'm the faster one this time.
Done! It took me 35 steps.
What? How?
This pagoda stack toy is pretty fun to play with.
Good. We'll try it one final time. This time, we'll add 2 more layers, making 7 layers in total.
Damn.
Do you need that many steps for something this simple? Let me try.
Madam Faruzan, allow me to try it as well.
We don't have enough paper strips left for you, Traveler. However, by the looks of things, you seem to have the game figured out. Why don't you guess what the lowest number of steps needed to solve a 7-layer pagoda stack is?
Oh my god.
Oh, fuck.
A few moments.
I kind of just try to imagine it, doing it in my head, and I feel like it's going to be quite a lot of steps. I'm going to say 127.
Oh, color me impressed. You figured it out so quickly.
I'm not Asian for no reason, you know?
If I move this small ring, then the big one won't be able to go on top of it. Oh, this is going to take more steps than I expected.
7 is not...
I've lost count of how many steps I've taken. Can I restart?
7 is a big number for this kind of thing.
This got a lot harder.
Anise?
I solved it. Madam Faruzan, it takes 127 steps in total.
You're welcome.
That many? But there are only 7 layers.
Oh, it's much deeper than that.
For every extra layer in the pagoda stack, the move order you need to consider becomes much more complex.
Right.
And the number of steps required will at least double.
There's a
More
whole
accurately,
sequence to
it will require double the steps, plus 1 each time. You did well. You didn't underestimate the principles behind it just because it's an early learning
It's also
toy.
like a game of memorization.
The complexity of any given contraption isn't determined by the number of parts it has. The way the parts interact and the rules behind how it operates are important too.
So even a simple toy can become complex with the right set of rules.
That's right. The rules used for Pagoda Stack are the simplest kind when it comes to ancient contraption-making techniques. I could spend some time picking out all those machines that do something similar and write you a reference book.
Do you have any other toys?
Yeah, when can we play with them?
In about 2 days or so, I think. Anise, if you're free, can you help me with the illustrations for the reference book?
Of course. I'd be honored.
2 days should be enough for us to find more volunteers. Then we can organize a huge conference here, at which we can announce which toy we'll be making.
Should I come back in 2 days then? Oh boy, they're gonna make me turn the clock 2 times then.
Thank you for coming here with me today. I'll walk back with you.
This new game's not bad, but Genius Invocation TCG is better.
We need to wait 2 whole days before we get the new toys?
It might just be all reference stuff. It'll be a long time before we can play with the real toys.
Guess all we can do is play Genius Invocation TCG in the meantime.
Okay, I mean on an interesting scale, TCG is more interesting than Pagoda Stack. Okay, no offense, madam.
This game is even more fun than Genius Invocation TCG.
Really? Alright, you two have differing opinions.
This new game's fun. Like Genius Invocation TCG.
And he is neutral.
Surely the kids will like this one. No wonder she's so well respected at the academia. When I first saw her, I thought she might be unreliable because she's so young. Don't let her know I said that. Anise warned me about that before.
If only Madam Faruzan were willing to switch to Kasharwar. Is Madam Faruzan really going to mentor me? What an honor. I'm sure she'll say helping with illustrations isn't mentoring. So, don't tell her I said that.
I'll be going then. Say hi to Tighnari and Collei for me if you can. Once everything here is settled, I'll make my way over to Pardis Dhyai as quickly as I can.
So, about Kashawar. Oh yeah, about Anise.
Anise? We haven't had much time to get to know each other, but she seems like a good kid. She's able to calmly figure out the basic principles behind something without being influenced by others. I'll do my best to teach her over the next few days. Still, how much she learns will really depend on her.
Why don't you take her on as your student?
Well, her interest lies in the application of mechanisms. My research into mechanisms is, in a sense, a side effect of my research into ancient texts. If she becomes my student to learn how to make modern contraptions, it wouldn't benefit either of us in the long run.
I see. I hadn't considered that.
However, if she develops an interest in deciphering ancient texts over these next 2 days, that would change things. If I successfully poach a student, those young punks at Haravatat will have one less reason to cut my budget. Perhaps if this collaborative project goes smoothly, I can even ignore Haravatat and ask for a higher budget directly from the academia.
About the collaborative project, do you have any ideas?
Oh, I could come up with lots of ideas. With Anise's help, 2 days will be enough for our work. However, I'm still undecided as to the style of the reference book's text and illustrations.
Try to be accurate in detail and try to keep it simple and fun. Accurate in detail.
You're right. Explanations are a core part of early developments too. By using detailed and accurate illustrations, we can impart knowledge more effectively. It would also make it easier for me to recruit students. Thank you. I'll take your opinion into account. See you in 2 days.
Sayonara. You love making me turn the clock. Hi.
Day 3.
Do we have a crowd?
Oh, you're here. We're
Oh.
just starting to set up the venue.
We've called up everyone we possibly could have. This is going to be quite the event.
My masterpiece is going to be exhibited after all. Let's see what the academia shall say about it this time.
The grand and lively event gets underway.
To sum up, the 24 forms of pressure-based puzzle mechanisms were used in various ruins. All right, let's go to the next page. Now, I'll explain the base layer design of elemental monuments.
How did things turn out like this? I feel like I'm in a class.
Are we done yet? Oh, I'm falling asleep.
Oh, wait, what the hell? Wait, Faruzan? These are kids. Faruzan.
I don't understand any of it at all.
Are these really toys?
They sound a bit too dangerous to buy for children.
Oh, come on.
Well, we've prepared paper prototypes for everyone. If you're interested in the mechanisms Madame Faruzan's talked about, you're more than welcome to try them out.
Oh, this is no fun. Can I try another toy?
Ah, shit. I should have gone for fun and simple, didn't I? That's on me. That's on me.
I want to go home and play Genius Invocation TCG.
Forget it. I don't think anyone would be interested.
I should go home and take care of my children.
Aw, that's a bummer.
How did this happen? Forget about getting opinions from others. No one even wanted to stay and try them out.
I'm sorry. I think we miscalculated.
I must apologize too.
No, you simply gave suggestions. I was the one who decided to follow through.
Now I feel terrible.
Excuse me, but are you the one who wrote this reference book?
Oh.
Yes. Who are you?
You're that man mountain who was in the crowd just now.
Do I stand out that much? Well, I guess I don't look like someone who'd have anything to do with toys. Let me introduce myself. I'm Kamal.
Right, I've seen
the
you
branch
around.
master of Sumeru's Adventurers Guild. Can you print a few more copies of this booklet and sell them to the Adventurers Guild? Also, could you make full-fledged models of those paper prototypes and sell them to us as well?
Well, maybe we didn't fail after all.
What does the Adventurers Guild want with these toys?
You may see them as toys, but to adventurers who need to deal with all sorts of machines and contraptions within ancient ruins, this booklet is a true treasure. We have many members who can't read, so books are of little use to them. What they know of handling mechanisms has been learned solely through word of mouth.
Ah, and our booklet is practically all pictures.
Well, it is designed for children.
It might be a bit too difficult for children, but it's perfect for adventurers. Also, those paper strips, you called them paper prototypes? If you can make wooden versions for demonstration purposes, even the most illiterate person would be able to follow along and understand. If we can supply a model set for each branch, and if each adventurer carries a booklet with them, then ruin exploration will become much safer.
You really think so?
Dang.
I mean, yes. I always
Turn
knew
into
it.
toys for another
Knowledge
use.
will always be needed, one way or another.
Making models of contraptions for the Adventurers Guild? To be honest, that sounds like a good avenue to explore to me.
Then let's cut to the chase and discuss the details of our first order. The amount we're offering to pay in advance is this much.
Look at her face. Okay. I'm guessing she got a really hefty sum of money. Knowledge is wealth. All knowledge will find its use. Oh, look at that. Oh shit, I didn't save the image. Look at how happy she is. Aww. Okay, so task failed successfully is this ending. This is where it branched out initially, and then followed by this one. Try to keep it simple and fun.
You're right. If no one understands the reference book, it doesn't matter how detailed it is.
She agrees me with both choices.
Better to make it simpler and fun so that children will be interested in the subject. It'll also make it easier for me to recruit students in the long run. Thank you. I'll take your opinion into account. See you in 2 days.
And I gotta wait again. Oh, good lord. Ticka.
Day 3.
This time, this will rake in the sales, wouldn't it? I believe in you, Faruzan. Grand and lively event gets underway.
And if we activate this little mechanism just like that, a Sumeru rose will appear at the top of the cane.
Oh, I see.
There we go.
I thought it came out of thin air. It's amazing.
If the mechanism was bigger, you could make a rabbit appear, right?
Then you can't use a cane. Could you switch it out with a hat or something?
Really? That old trick?
You're applying what you learned creatively. Not bad. Let's look at the next page. If you fold an origami bird like this, it'll fly further and more stably.
Whoa. You can make a mechanism using just a piece of paper?
That's not exactly a toy we can just sell, right? It's just paper.
These are pretty cool. I'm tempted to try them out.
Dang, Tevat is missing out on a lot.
I'm not that interested in toys, but if they'll be beneficial for children's development.
Everyone, we have paper prototypes and craft materials that you can use to make your own toys. Come try them out.
Okay.
This is
Kamal's
such a
just not
well-prepared
present
event.
this time.
I'll give it a go.
Kamal just disappeared.
We want to play too.
It's fine. We have a lot of paper prototypes and craft materials. All feedback is also welcomed.
The popular and lively event continues.
Oh, my origami bird flew further this time.
Professor Faruzan, how can I make mine fly further?
Just Madam will do. Maybe in the future, you may indeed get the chance to call me Professor. You may wish to pay attention to these few details. Here, for example. All right, try it again.
Wow, it really did fly farther.
Madam Faruzan, will we learn origami at the Academia?
Of course you will. If you become a researcher, you can explore any field you like to your heart's content. In the future, if you want, you can even become one of my students.
Position still open.
Which Darshan teaches about mechanisms in origami?
Well, in this case, it would be Haravatat.
Kashara.
I know. We need to choose Kasharawar.
Exactly.
Huh?
I want to attend Kasharawar in the future and fold even better origami birds.
Well, then Faruzan wouldn't be your professor.
Actually, the other Darshans do have their own specialties too. For example, Haravatat specializes in... Pay attention, children. Children?
Looks like these early learning toys are a success. However, looks like the recruiting students might be an issue. Yeah, that kind of backfired, huh?
How did this happen?
What if we end up in a Darshan we don't like? Does that mean that we won't get to learn about the things we do like?
No, that won't happen. Take me, for example. I'm a researcher from Haravatat, but I research mechanisms. See? The only person able to restrict your curiosity as a researcher is you. Let me tell you a story about pressure-based mechanisms and elemental monuments.
Ending 2? Ah, look at that. The Gardener and the Nursery. So long as the pursuit of knowledge brings you joy, I'm fine with it. But won't you reconsider? Haravatat's classes are very interesting too. I guess another task failed successfully? All the way back here. Okay, let's think of some way to get her to Pardis Dhyai.
Do you have some way to invite her over to Pardis Dhyai without stepping on the Academia's toes?
I do have the makings of an idea. Let's observe the situation first.
Sorry for asking again, but are you sure you can't go to Pardis Dhyai today?
Well, since you're asking me so sincerely, let's just ignore the Academia and...
we can't do...
Please, Madame Faruzan, focus. Today's the deadline.
Actually, Tighnari wants to invite her over to discuss some research.
Huh? Why, that lad didn't make it very clear in his letter, now did he?
Okay, now he's a lad.
Opportunities for collaborative research don't just come out of thin air. This seems like too much of a coincidence.
Master wants to research,
a fully automated irrigation system.
Oh, thank you.
I'll have Tighnari write an official proposal to the Academia later. That should do it, right?
An official proposal. Fine. We haven't made any progress with either the collaborative project
Oh,
or
there goes the car crafts and the collab.
Please do take care of the paperwork as soon as possible. Don't delay this any longer.
The researcher leaves, clearly still having some doubts.
I think she bought it.
That was quick thinking back there.
Even though this is our first meeting, I must say, we make a good team.
There we go, back to Pardis Dhyai.
Master, we're back! Huh? Where did he go?
You don't have to shout. I can hear you.
Right, his ears are sensitive.
Thanks to the Traveler, I was able to pawn off various problems of mine onto others.
Onto others? What does that mean?
Procrastination. And making up excuses.
You're looking for me because of the thing you mentioned in the letter, right?
That's right. Please, follow me.
Right, what is this thing actually? We're going inside the greenhouse. Are we looking at Karkata? Is the thing It is! Oh no, Karkata! Karkata? Karkata, oh no! The power, his power source.
A monster? Why is there a monster here?
Don't be scared, Collei. This is the mechanical life form the Traveler and I saved a while back. Its name is Karkata. It's the final work of a late junior of mine.
You mean Abatui? He must have been a genius to create one of such polish all by himself. It's uncommon that a Spontamod researcher is able to create such an intricate machine. If he were still around, we could probably chat the day away. What a shame.
Karkata.
Something seems wrong here. Have you been maintaining it? Mechanical life forms are much more fragile than they look.
Karkata has been lying down like this since a few days ago. It could be an old malfunction acting up again. Madame Faruzan, you should be able to find a way to repair it.
Not necessarily. Mechanical life forms are created using techniques from alchemy, elemental science, and more. There are multiple modules here that influence each other. A simplistic knowledge of mechanisms will not serve here. You know that as well. Each mechanical life form is very different from the next. So even I cannot be sure if my understanding of mechanical life forms is going to be of any use to our little crab friend here.
Karkata.
Can you all go outside for a minute? I need a bit of space. Before I do a thorough check, everything we've just said is but conjecture.
All right. We're counting on you, Madame Faruzan.
Mechanical life forms are truly incredible. Who knew that I'd encounter a mechanical life form in this manner after 100 years?
Hey! Hope you feel better soon, Karkata. I didn't know mechanical life forms could get sick too. You have to get better soon, Karkata.
We'll wait here till Faruzan finishes her inspection. In the meantime, I'd like to talk to you about her.
I also wanted to ask you about her past.
Her past, huh? quite a few people in the academia know about what happened to her.
I'm actually interested in this.
Perhaps it'd be best if I'm the one to tell you. I've told you before that she disappeared for 100 years, right? From her perspective, trapped might be a more apt description.
Trapped?
Her exact words were...
That ruin was crawling with traps and coded inscriptions from wall to wall. I did all I could to decipher the code and deactivate the traps to escape the ruin, but there was no way out. I lost track of time and I ran out of pen and paper. In the end, I had to use stone shards to write on the walls and on the floor to decipher the code. Then, before I realized it, I ran out of space on the walls and floor. I had to calculate all the possibilities in my mind. After that, my memory started to become fuzzy, and my cognition slowed down.
She doesn't remember anything else, including the location of the ruin and how she finally managed to escape.
What the hell? So did she actually, it actually lasted 100 years? No way, right? A human mind is not that mentally stable to handle 100 years of isolation.
When she was found in the outskirts of Sumeru a few years ago, she looked exactly the same as she did 100 years prior. However, she was in a stupor and struggled to form sentences.
Ooh,
only after a lengthy recovery period could she speak again.
Dang. That's horrible.
The academia speculates that she must have gotten trapped in an unknown ruin while researching machines a century ago.
And just no one thought to look for her.
And because of the ruin's special properties that halted her aging, she was able to use those 100 years to crack the trapping mechanism and then escape.
Really? So she actually... it did last that long.
Though she had finally broken free, 100 years had passed.
Yeah,
everyone she knew, and everyone who knew her was already gone.
This is the sad part of all of it.
In the end, even the academia had to rely on century-old records in the Akasha to confirm her existence. Don't make that face. I'm not telling you this because I want to drum up sympathy. She wouldn't want others to pity her because of past events.
That's horrible, though. It's sad she had to go through that.
Rather, she sees that period of entrapment as an experimental error. As a researcher, she must accept everything that results from her experiments, even if they don't fall within expectations.
No experimental error is worth 100 years of your life.
Even after going through so much, she's returned to Sumeru and still hasn't given up on her research.
Wow. You know what? For what it is, I envy her determination.
Due to changes over the years and drift in academic subjects, she holds some rather strong opinions about the current academia, and she has no shortage of detractors herself. What I want to say is that no matter what era we're in, Faruzan is a true senior researcher in every sense of the word.
Oh.
She has her own deep understanding of various ruins and machines. If there's a chance, you should talk about them with her. It'll definitely be helpful for your journey.
I see.
I never thought that I'd encounter a restitution module once again after 100 years. Abattoir really installed quite a few impressive things on this. If my guess is correct, this mechanical life form has displayed attempts at self-sustenance before, right? Such as collecting parts to repair itself, for instance?
It has collected parts before, yes.
If I'm not wrong, Karkata's issue lies with its restitution module. Abattoir's modified this module extensively, but the core parts and design philosophy are very similar to the principles as I know them. They are all based on principles learned from the ruins. The creators of the ruins machine once tried to create a perpetual mechanism that could replace life or even surpass it. The restitution module is the result of one of their countless attempts. It replicates the behavior of living things to achieve a self-repair function. However, the energy required in maintenance of the module became an issue. For example, a living thing's heart can deliver nutrients and blood to various organs. However, the bigger the living thing, the more powerful the heart needs to be. Once the heart is damaged, it'll be hard for that living thing to heal itself, and even the function of other organs can be affected. Thus, the attempt wasn't widely adopted. Even 100 years ago, I'd only seen it once before. Oh dear, this is going to be a problem.
Why is that?
Based on my current research, I'll need to swap out the damaged parts in the restitution module to repair Karkata. But like I just said, the module is rare, even by the standards of ancient machines. Not only that, but there is very little related research documentation available. One can only wonder where Abattoir found the original parts.
I might have an idea. Abatui was, for a time, quite passionate about excavating the Great Red Sand. This was when he had just gotten expelled from the academia.
But the desert's huge! How are we supposed to find the parts that Karkata needs?
I do know that a Vahumana researcher formed an expedition team after the sandstorms and earthquakes subsided. They are now exploring areas of the desert that used to be difficult to access.
Are we going to the desert?
Should we ask them if they've made any new discoveries lately?
The chances are slim, but it's at least more effective than running around like headless chickens.
What's the lead researcher's name? Where is the archaeology team currently stationed?
His name is Raed. I think he's stationed at the northeast part of the Hypostyle Desert. Let's go look for him once Karkata settles down.
Oh, you and Collei should probably stay. Karkata's condition may be stable, but it would still be better if some of us stay to look after it. Besides, you still need to take care of the trouble that the academia left for me.
Trouble from the academia? I thought you said you pawned it off to someone else. Wait, don't tell me.
I'll let Collei fill you in on the details. I look forward to seeing your work, Tighnari.
A fully automated irrigation system. That's quite the task.
Master, can I help with anything at all? I can go buy things. Prepare pen and paper.
Oh, I seem to remember that you have a lot of homework today.
What is this?
Wait, no, that's the boss. That's not just the overworld mob, that's the boss.
Halt! Mr. Raed's permission is required to proceed any further.
We're not outsiders. She's a researcher from the academia.
That still won't do. Mr. Raed told us to keep people away from the ruins so they don't damage the site.
Damage the site? I've excavated more ruins than you've visited restaurants. Which batch of students is Raed from? I want to see him right now.
He isn't at the campsite now. You should all leave. Only he can give you permission to enter.
What a stubborn guy.
We can't just waste our time here like this. Let's wait for the researchers to come back first. Let's keep it professional.
Even if there is new information, we still have to wait for him to come back so we can ask him about it. So let's just see what we can find out from the people here. I'm going to give that Raed a good talking to when he gets back. Starting from who in the world mentored you?
Yeah, see, this is the book.
Halt!
Up right there, criminal scum!
Okay, fine.
I see.
Rumors really be true? That machine looks amazing! Could it be the legendary Ruin Wanderer?
Ruin Wanderer? What do you know that I don't?
The ruins? Don't know anything. We were only hired to deliver water and supplies to them. Forget excavation. They won't even let us get close to the camp where they're staying.
Hey!
They won't even let us go near the camp. This area used to be ravaged by frequent sandstorms. But it's been calm lately for some reason. They say that this was done by a single traveler? But seriously, is such a thing even humanly possible?
I did.
Is there anything that stands out to you? Ruin Wanderer. That's the first time I've heard that name. That wreckage did seem a bit weird.
What's so weird about it?
Perhaps we should ask the villager from before about the legend first.
I want to learn more about the legend of the Ruin Wanderer.
I wouldn't blame you for not knowing about it, youngsters. After all, it's a tale that's over a decade old. It's said that this monster, the Ruin Wanderer, traversed through various ruins for centuries. Many adventurers had claimed to see it while exploring. Then, about 10 years ago, we stopped hearing any news about it in Sumeru. No one has seen it since then, and the legend has since faded into memory. You youngsters probably don't know about the Ruin Wanderer nowadays, but it was famous for centuries.
Centuries? Impossible. I heard nothing about it back then. It could only have been around for a few decades at most. Indulge my curiosity for a moment. Why do you think that wreckage is the Ruin Wanderer?
Well, I had also heard that secondhand from...
You heard that nonsense from the Eremites after they got drunk, right?
Oh, this is supposed to be Raed?
Madam Faruzan, it is a pleasure. I'm Raed, the one who organized this archaeological expedition. And this must be the famous traveler, I presume. What brings the two of you here?
Have you found any special contraptions and relics in the ruins that you've been investigating?
I'm ashamed to say that we haven't found anything noteworthy, even though we've been investigating for a while now.
Really? That ruin wanderer isn't noteworthy to you?
I'm afraid those are mere rumors. Really, I sometimes wish that those people would put as much effort into their work as they do into gossiping.
You're right, sir. I'll get back to work now.
The wise do not buy into rumors, so it is said. I believe that you too, Madame Faruzan, do not put any stock into such baseless talk.
It is also said that real knowledge shall come from practice. I can help you research the excavated relics and see if I can find out anything new about them. You can take credit for any new discoveries. I believe this offer to be sufficiently attractive.
In truth, I could ask for nothing better than your help with our research.
But
you two must be tired after a long journey. I'd feel bad if I set you to work immediately. Why don't you find a place to spend the night first? We can continue our discussion tomorrow. There's a tent that the villagers occasionally use to rest. It's a bit simple, yes, but I hope you won't mind.
Since you need to rest as well, let's do just that.
I guess we're resting.
Why now of all times?
Huh? Oh, here's the benefits of having the heat on my team. Doesn't seem too happy on the inside about us being here.
This is quite far away. Are they trying to prevent the villagers from eavesdropping on them? This suits us just fine, though. This way, they won't overhear our conversations either. Now, I have my suspicions about this archaeological expedition team and that machine wreckage. I only caught a quick glimpse, and it was from a distance. But based on the condition of the armor and joints, it didn't seem like something that had been lying around for centuries. At most, I'd estimate that it only stopped moving about a dozen years ago. The timing coincides with the spreading of the legend.
If anyone, she would be able to tell,
now,
right?
Assuming that it really is the Ruin Wanderer, how do you suppose it was able to maintain a relatively good condition despite high-intensity operation over the course of several decades?
The restitution module. Hey, that's what we need.
That's right. Technically speaking, the module shouldn't be able to move such a large machine chassis. However, I'm basing my knowledge on the mechanical life forms I've seen before.
You've seen such life forms before? You've encountered others besides Karkata?
Well, this was over 100 years ago. It was a machine about the same size as Karkata, actually. It couldn't carry heavy objects or fight, and was only able to help me record some notes. It also helped me deliver letters home. I found it near the desert, which is why I wondered if there might be more restitution modules buried around here.
A mechanical life form from 100 years ago. Is it no longer around? Why didn't you go and investigate earlier?
Had I confronted Raed right there and then, he would have said that he couldn't tell that the machine was special. Then he'd just hand it over to the Academia obediently. And he'd get away scot-free. If the wreckage were to be handed to the Academia, it'd be much tougher for us to do research on it or get spare parts for Karkata. Anyway, we should figure out what they're planning before making our next move. They insisted that we should stay the night, which means if they're trying to pull a fast one on us, they're likely to try tonight. We must be vigilant.
As the night goes on, you hear faint noises in the distance.
Are those sounds coming from the excavation
Oh.
site? I knew they wouldn't be able to wait. They must be scared that we might discover something tomorrow. I'll see if they left any clues behind at their camp. Keep watch and help me stall them if it comes to that, would you?
No problem.
All right. I'm counting on you.
Quit following me.
Why isn't the tent here yet? We need to switch it out tonight.
It's still on the way. I'm afraid this is the first time we're delivering such a huge one.
You good-for-nothings are just a load of trouble, aren't you? We wouldn't have to deal with these interlopers if you had kept those lips of yours from flapping.
Huh? Who's there?
It's me, Goldie.
I'm sorry. I'm just a bit upset because my subordinates aren't doing their jobs properly. When did you get here?
What is this delivery I hear you're having trouble with? What's the tent you mentioned, if I might ask?
It's nothing. Just a tent. We didn't pack up all our tents from the last campsite. Some of them, along with a few people, have been left there. Someone damaged our current tent, so I'm trying to get my subordinates to get one from that previous campsite delivered here.
And you're discussing that over here because...
The relics in the ruins are highly valuable, so I'm worried that treasure hoarders and bandits might try to steal them. Since the tent isn't here yet and I can't fall asleep, I came here to patrol. Also, where's Faruzan? Why isn't she with you?
I'm right here. Also, You forgot to address me as Madam.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, Madam Faruzan.
You were all making so much noise that I couldn't sleep, which is why I got the Traveler to find out what was going on. But for some reason, that one task took forever, so I came to check in on the situation.
I'm very sorry for disturbing your rest. I'll tell my subordinates to be quieter on patrol.
Good. Come on, Traveler. Let's head back.
We're heading back already?
Yes. We came to check out the situation, didn't we? Well, we've already done that. We should get better rest so that we'll have energy to investigate tomorrow. Now, I found something good on my end. These are the excavation records from their campsite. According to them, the ruins have been raided before, with numerous traps and contraptions having already been triggered. I also observed the wreckage up close earlier. The weathering is nowhere near as extensive as on the relics that have been buried for over 100 years. There's no doubt that the wreckage in the ruins don't belong to the same era. Instead, it must have wandered into the ruins about a dozen years ago. I still don't know why they'd want to hide it. I have no doubt that the researcher could definitely reach the same conclusion I did. The last few pages of the excavation records are written in code, which I still need time to decipher.
You can decipher coded messages?
It's just wordplay. And if anything, that's my wheelhouse.
Faruzan gets to work deciphering the code. It is your expertise, after all.
Help! Please help!
Why are you running away? Come back! Protect me!
Well, keep running for you too, right?
What's that sound? Is it?
Oh.
The Ruin Wanderer? Reactivated? What? It ignored the Traveler?
Why is it chasing after us?
What could have caused it to reactivate? And to give chase?
Darn it! Hey, come on, you lot! It's clear that we can't escape, so let's just attack it!
And it shut down again. That was really random.
It stopped?
Looks like this thing's parts can't handle the load of functioning anymore after years of disrepair.
Just like Karkata.
When it first reactivated, I was wondering if it'd be as amazing as the legends had pegged it to be. I didn't expect it to be so much weaker than it looks. How disappointing.
Disappointing, you say? Now, is that because you won't be able to sell it for much? You wrote these excavation records, did you not? Or perhaps calling it a ledger might jog your memory a bit better.
Is that what was deciphered in the code?
I don't recognize that thing.
January 3rd, excavated 5 tents. January 5th, 3 tents sold. January 10th, 1 special tent pre-sold. It must quickly be switched out with an old tent.
So tent is your code name for relics.
You're supposed to be an archaeological expedition team, and yet here you are, secretly selling the relics and profiting from it. And then we arrived just before you could finish your work. That forced you to speed up your plan, and you tried to complete the switch overnight before I could investigate the wreckage. In your haste, however, you accidentally activated the Ruin Wanderer instead. Did I get that all right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You lack the curiosity befitting a man of knowledge. Nor do you have respect for mechanical life forms. You're not fit to be a researcher.
Ridiculous! Curiosity? Respect? I'm not here to hear you preach. Hey! We're leaving.
Hey, now's a good time to go old Karen, Faruzan. Gotta report this back to the academia.
Mr. Raed!
Behind you?
Oh, he dead, bro. He dead.
Why is it moving again? Run!
Holy shit, did it actually kill him?
Some said that it was like a giant, while others said that it was like a beast. However, none knew why it wandered the ruins.
Technically speaking, the module shouldn't be able to move such a large machine chassis. However, I'm basing my knowledge on the mechanical life forms I've seen before. Centuries? Impossible. I heard nothing about it back then. It could only have been around for a few decades at most.
Why is it chasing after us?
So you've been looking for me this whole time?
Huh?
Long time no see, Tamimi.
Oh, you have a robotic friend as well.
Everyone hold it?
Oh. There's notes on the ground. Dang, Raed got squished so much his remains doesn't exist anymore. I've corrected notes. I told you not to. Now look, so many people worried, even Tamimi. The messy scribbling has been repeatedly cancelled and edited, leaving barely legible phrases in a single neat message in the back. Hurry up and come home for a meal. Your mom always makes an extra portion of the food, you know. Dear Madam Faruzan, the notes and manuscripts we found on Tamimi has been transcribed and organized, and every one of them has been marked with your name. I hope that even after 100 years, future generations of students will still remember your name, Madam Faruzan. Tamimi's remodeling is going smoothly. As it is now, it can learn how to deal with various dangerous situations in its ruins on its own. I wish you could come see with your own eyes. As I worked, I kept thinking that you'd do a better job at this than I could. After all, you're the most exceptional student I have never met. To you in 100 years. So these were letters from a century ago, addressed to her.
Dear Faruzan, I hope you're doing well. It has been over 20 years since you went missing. People from the academia keep telling us to give up and that you're most likely dead. But somehow, I feel like you're still alive. Yes, that you live still in some corner of this world.
Is this family or friends?
You've always been persistent, able to shine no matter what situation you face. I believe that this persistence serves you well in surviving and finding your way home. Unfortunately, I likely won't be able to welcome you home when you do. I don't have much time left, and my reflexes have slowed. Others keep telling me to stop exploring ruins. Only Tamimi is still the same as before, always running off to places which you've been to. Your teacher and friends came up with an idea to remodel Tamimi so it can search for you in our place. You didn't like coming home back then and would always get Tamimi to send a letter back. Now we're leaving a letter with Tamimi. I wonder if it'll ever be delivered to you.
All the letters Tamimi carried.
I don't know the answer to that question, but if you ever read this letter, I hope it'll be when you've already found your way home.
She has.
I regret not being able to say this to you myself, but I'll still feel sincerely happy for you, my dear daughter.
Oh, it's her mother.
Welcome home, Faruzan.
Oh.
Look at you, Tamimi. You've changed so much after all these years. Thank you for waiting for me all this time. I've safely received the letters. Your work is done now. You can sleep.
To run out of power? That's...
Tamimi, the mechanical life form I encountered back then. When I would go on expeditions, it would follow me, take notes for me, and send my letters home. When I met with that accident, it was on the way to deliver a letter for me. I once thought that I'd never get to see it again. I didn't expect my teacher and others to remodel its self-repair function, upgrading it to self-learning. And so, in order to plumb the depths of unknown ruins and overcome dangerous traps, it repaired and modified itself using parts it found along the way. 1 decade of wandering became many, and soon...
A century.
Tamimi, which used to be incapable of even moving heavy objects, became the Ruin Wanderer.
So inside is the original Tamimi, and the outside is what it's learnt and built onto itself.
All so it could deliver these last letters from them to me.
Even though they had all passed on, they still prayed for your safe return.
The strain to support such a huge body must have turned out to be too much for your heart, right? Even after the remodeling, its restitution module still can't function perfectly in perpetuity. It has been pushing itself beyond its limits over the past few decades. Just like a living being, mechanical life forms have a limited lifespan. It probably became trapped in the ruins all those years ago because its shelf life had run out. It most likely only reactivated because it detected my presence. And then it mustered up everything it had to deliver that last letter. Now, it can finally rest in peace. Tighnari told you what happened to me, right?
I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. It's not like this incident is a secret in the academia.
Yeah, but, I mean, hell. I don't suppose a lot of people know this side of the story.
Besides, I've always treated it as a failed experiment. As a researcher, I must accept this result. However, finding out that so many people were affected by my failure does make me feel somewhat conflicted. Can you head back to Pardis Dhyai first? We've been here for a while, and it's best not to make Collei and the rest worry. As for me, I want to stay with Tamimi for a bit longer. Just a bit.
Look at her. She's, her facade of that all, the sincerity, it's gone just for this moment. Faruzan's head hangs low in silence. The desert breathes gales of wind, and the only sound that can be heard is the scattering rise of spreading grains. I'll let them have a moment.
You're back!
How was your journey through the desert? Wait, where's Madame Faruzan?
Tell the whole truth. Keep Tamimi a secret. Well, let's tell the truth first, shall we? You tell everyone everything that has happened in the desert.
Oh no. She finally got to reunite with an old friend from 100 years ago. But...
As a researcher, she could perhaps accept it. However, as a friend, a student, and a daughter, we should give her some time. Let's just wait for her here.
She lost her whole life that day in the ruins.
And in the future, I hope that we can be here to support her as her new friends.
Why would I keep it a secret though, you know? It's better that they know, right? When the time comes, they know how to cheer her up.
I'm back! What? Is there to be no welcoming party?
And here's Karen Faruzan.
We've all been waiting for you, Madame Faruzan.
Sorry.
That's more like it.
Madam.
Now, here are some components I brought back from the desert. Switch these out with the ones Karkata is using right now, and it'll be back in ship shape.
These components from Tamimi?
Huh? Why do you all look so solemn? Come now. Liveliness befits youngsters more.
Oh nah, there's no way that rain was not coded, bro. There's no way. It was bright as outside just now. And just because this was brought up, it starts coincidentally pouring like a bitch. Oh, come on. That's gotta be coded, right?
Madame Faruzan, did these parts come from...
Come now. I thought that you must have encountered some major problem. This isn't something you have to worry about. Well, it looks like you already know everything. But no need to feel bad. Like I said before, as researchers, we must learn to accept our failures. Tamimi had been operating beyond capacity for a century, and I'm unable to repair it with my current abilities. Not even with these parts. It would thus be much better to use them to extend Karkata's lifespan.
It was impressive Tamimi even made it that long, that far.
As a senior, it is only right that I do something for the people who come after me. That holds true for both researchers and machines.
All right, I'll do my best to help.
Me too. Although, I'm not sure if I'll be much help.
I'll help too.
Thank you. If they could remodel Tamimi successfully even back then, there's no reason why we won't be able to do even better. And when that day comes, I'll be sure to say, welcome home, Tamimi.
Aw, start over. New friends, a new life, a new beginning. I like this ending. See, this is what I wanted to find out more about. Her past is something I wanted to dive into. So this was the deviating choice. Time to decide. Oh. Really? So the deviating choice was to either keep it a secret or not. Keep Tamimi a secret. You tell everyone the partial truth.
So Madame Faruzan has some other things to settle, and to think that Raed was doing all of those things on the sly. It's good that you all got out of that situation in one piece.
If it were me, I wouldn't have hit this... I wouldn't have told the white lie. Currently, only Faruzan knows and I know about Tamimi. I should let Faruzan decide whether to tell the others about Tamimi. You know, sometimes I wonder about these hangouts. It's like, I know these are just supposed to be meant for side stories and a bit more about the character, you know? Because this works kind of like a visual novel, and there's multiple endings, I wonder how canonically it works like that. Like, which ending is the one that's supposed to be canonical? It can't just be whichever ending we think is best, right?
Now, here are some components I brought back from the desert. Switch these out with the ones Karkata is using right now, and it'll be back in ship shape.
So this is a relic of an ancient civilization? Unbelievable. Thankfully, it didn't end up in Raed's unscrupulous hands.
I'll start repairing Karkata then. Collei, can you help me out? Of course!
After some repairs, Karkata springs back to life. Hey, look at our boy. Look at the boy. Kalu to you too.
Will I be able to take Karkata with me on patrol duty in the future?
Maybe, just like how Faruzan takes Tamimi on patrol duty. You alright?
Ah, you're here. Thank you for keeping Tamimi a secret.
You don't plan on telling them? Oh, shit. Well, I mean, I knew it was personal. I just thought opening up would, you know, be helpful.
If I tell them about Tamimi, will they still feel happy for Karkata? Even if we could convince them to accept the components, they'll probably still feel bad about it. I don't want my past to affect people in the present. That applies to both me and other people.
You don't have to shoulder this all alone. Maybe you'll feel better if you shared with the others.
It's fine. I'm used to this. I once believed that I'd never hear from my old friends and family ever again. Even their faces are getting hazier in my memories. However, I could remember them clearly again after reading the letter Tamimi handed to me and learning that they'd never given up on me. That's more than enough. I'd be disappointing them if I let myself fall into a slump because of this. Neither my teacher nor my mother would have wanted to see me like that.
I know it was their parents, but 20 years of constant searching. Because, and they would never know. Thing is, they would never know if they would have never been at ease, because they all passed away before she solved the puzzle and escaped. So to them, they passed away thinking that, oh, my friend or my daughter is still missing. That's just horrible to think about.
Besides, you're lending a listening ear to me now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, Pardis Dhyai looks pretty scenic at night. Will you take a stroll with me?
It would be my pleasure.
Once Karkata's condition stabilizes, I'll find a chance to tell Tighnari and Collei about all that. But for now, just help me keep the secret.
You got it.
Thank you. Whether it's 100 years ago or now, I have people who worry about me. I suppose I should consider myself quite fortunate. The only time when I felt otherwise was when I had just returned to Sumeru. No one came to check up on me then.
Welcome home, Faruzan. Aww.
Yeah, I'm home.
That was nice of Lumine to say. Welcome back, Faruzan. Where once she was adrift on the sea of time, she has found her home sure once again. Maybe I like this ending better, actually. Maybe it was better to just keep that a secret. That extended the ending for much longer than I thought it would be. It's much more heartfelt this time. That was nice. I like that. Whether it be 100 years more, she'll have someone here as her friend. I just really like that ending. It was really touching. Final ending. I'm really enjoying this hangout so far. Right. There was 2 tasks we could have taken. Right, this. The Haravatat Course now. Tell me more about that Haravatat Course.
Haravatat is an academic faction that researches languages and runes. 100 years ago, Madame Faruzan was a researcher from that darshan.
Now, not was. Still am.
But current Haravatat students can't really, understand her direction of research. So even if she opened a course, chances are that no one would attend.
Direction of research?
In summary, I mean to interpret the configurations and solutions of ruin mechanisms via the deciphering of on-site stone carvings and unearthed documents. It'll include research into general documents dealing with such ancient machines.
That is awfully specific. I'm pretty sure there's a shorter way to phrase this, right?
But the content deals heavily with both ruins and mechanisms. This will make it difficult for students of this darshan because they don't understand much about mechanisms.
Yeah, I can see
Also,
how that
there are fewer and fewer
contradicts each
unexplored
other.
ruins left nowadays, and Ksharawar researchers have been developing their own theories on mechanisms.
Yeah, that's probably because of me. I've robbed all the ruins and desolate spaces of their primo gems, scraped away every primo gem from the surface of Teyvat. So this subject is what you might call a sunset industry. So she's doing a very niche research. Niche is sometimes good, right? But I guess it's because she's like a course leader, it matters differently. I was just talking from like a student's point of view. I speak from experience.
Also, the people here think that my research is outdated and unrealistic, so they keep cutting my funding. Why, I think they could all stand to learn from Collei. She's a hard-working child and respects her elders.
Huh? Why me?
If only those who came to my lectures were more like you. Speaking of which, are you feeling better? You don't have to confine yourself to Gandharvaville anymore, right?
I just remembered that I have a lot of studying to do. I need to head back and find Master.
Wait, I have an idea. Collei needs to learn how to read. You need to teach a course.
Are you telling me to start a reading course for Collei?
Exactly.
Huh?
I mean, what do you read, Collei?
There must surely be many people like Collei and Sumeru who are passionate about learning, but cannot study due to various reasons. The old academia paid no heed to them. But if I start a reading course for Collei as a pilot, perhaps this shall come to benefit many more people in the future. Traveler, Collei, do wait for us a little while outside the academia. I'll be back in just a moment.
Wait! Let's catch up with her. I can't believe she rushed right in after we arrived. She's really headstrong. Oh, how did things turn out like this?
Did I end up giving her a bad idea? You seem quite scared of her.
No, not really. Madame Faruzan is a brilliant scholar. Even Master thinks so. If she's really going to teach me how to read, it'll definitely be much better than me bashing my head against the wall. It's just that she can get a bit too passionate sometimes. I don't know how to handle that.
The way she treats you is completely different from how she treats researchers.
Maybe it's because she wants to take me in as a student? It's just like that researcher said. The academia has completely changed during the 100 years that Faruzan was gone. Madame Faruzan also refuses to accept random students just to make up numbers. She still hasn't found a student she likes, even after all this time back.
What about Anise? So she's a teacher with no students.
But she seems to like my attitude toward learning, so she often asks me if I'm willing to become her student. It's because I'm a slow learner that I have no choice but to stay up late and study. Whenever she compliments me, I feel really guilty. She sometimes brings food to Gandharvaville for me.
Oh.
And each time she says that Master can't find out.
That sounds like something a grandmother might do for her granddaughter.
Now that you mention it, it does feel a bit like that. Do I really look that young?
Collei, Traveler, thank you for waiting. The issue has been resolved.
Speak of the devil. That was fast.
I argued with the higher-ups and convinced them of the practicality and necessity of educating the general
Dang,
public.
they were debating. Were they convinced or were they coerced?
It's just that we need to fill in every single page of the application. It's been a century, but the academia is as picky as ever. Let's see now. What do we need to fill in? Course name, learning objectives, teaching methods, course materials. I suppose we can fill in the course name last.
Our learning objective is to teach people to read, right?
That's a bit too general, I'd say. After all, this class's target audience isn't toddlers or children, but rather people who already know the basics of reading. We'll need a more specific learning objective. How about proficiency in reading and writing?
We're doing an English class.
That's true. If we use children's teaching materials, we'll only end up wasting a lot of time on things that students would already know.
So other than teaching materials for children, what other methods does Collei use? What would someone at her age read?
I fear that I'm at a loss as to which books youngsters like nowadays. Would The Legend of Antara be too old of a story?
If even a centenarian like you finds that tale old, how old is that story exactly?
Fair. Collei, what have you been reading lately?
Yeah, what is she?
Me? I've been reading light novels from Inazuma. I heard that ever since we were allowed to sell books in Sumeru again,
Oh boy.
some people set up stalls at Treasure Street to sell light novels. I've been meaning to go there and check it out.
Oh boy. Has she been reading that Reborn as Raiden Shogun one?
Light novels? This is my first time hearing about such a thing, but I doubt I will procure suitable teaching materials from the House of Dana. Treasure Street it is.
Wait for us, Madame Faruzan.
Wait, I swear. Has she read this? You know, I still feel like there's some like kind of like time fluctuation happening when she was trapped for 100 years. Because there is no way a person will be mentally sane after 100 years of being constantly stuck and repeatedly doing and trying things over and over and over. There's no way 100 years didn't completely break her. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to make it depressing. This is Treasure Street? Ain't much of a street now, is it?
What a long and mildly ungrammatical title. And why is the cover so colorful?
Oh, God. The books she's used to reading, she probably likes something like Shakespeare and stuff, and then Collei's out here reading manga.
Is this your first time seeing a light novel, ma'am? Oh, they're the most popular of books nowadays. Would you like me to recommend something?
Fine. One shouldn't judge a book by its cover after all.
Why don't you try this one? It's Outlander Brigade, When the Wind of Death Blew Towards the Blonde Samurai.
Okay, that's not too long.
I heard that this book's author describes action in vivid detail.
Wait.
Now I've only skimmed through a few pages, but it feels like it's all fight scenes. There are only subjects and predicates, and the syntax is a tad simple.
Subjects? Predicates?
You don't need to think too much about it, alright, Faruzan?
The protagonist just ends up fighting in every scene with no proper build-up. Will anyone even enjoy a story that's only comprised of fights?
Times have changed. It has been 100 years.
How about... the good thing about being reincarnated as a hilly churl is that I only need to eat Sunsetias to become stronger.
Oh my god, I remember this. I remember seeing someone on Reddit even made a literal light novel cover art for it. It's so hilarious and very well done too. It's an isekai novel.
A reincarnation isekai story? Those are pretty popular right now.
Too popular! Oh my god. Please, people, why do they keep writing these? I know some of them are good, but it's way too repetitive now. Go browse some anime nowadays and it's always this like essay long title, and it's just reincarnation, the strongest, reborn as the strongest, reborn as this, reborn as that. Guys, come on.
Isekai? What in the world is that? Also, why does it become stronger by eating Sunsetias?
Those are what we call tropes.
Tropes? Those fictional rules used to push the plot forward, yes? They're definitely effective in achieving a distancing effect.
No, don't tell me she only reads, like, non-fiction.
This book doesn't explain how reincarnation correlates to becoming stronger. Such an illogical rule will affect the coherence of the story. Will readers really accept this?
You know, she's the embodiment of something that someone would slap like that nerd emoji meme on. There might be people out there who will. It's for readers who don't care much about logic.
How about this? I had to fight tooth and nail to get this in stock.
Oh, that's the latest volume of Onibudo!
Now that's a rather normal title length.
Right.
Oh, Collei, do you like this series?
Onibudo?
Yes, but I don't like it that much.
She clearly recognized it as the latest volume with a single glance. Is she embarrassed to admit that she likes books at all?
Madam, are you going to use this series as teaching material?
Oh, she would be over the top. God, but like the way she would teach it though would kinda suck the joy out of it. Or she'd make it more funny by over-analyzing it.
Let me see. Dialogue flows quite well, but there are too many phrases here that I don't recognize.
Oh.
Third eye of perception, illusory mirror, and so on. Are these terms that are tied to tropes?
I also thought those names were strange when I was reading them.
She was able to say those phrases in such a serious tone. I guess that's a language researcher from Haravatat for you. Because such names are cool. I think it's because such names are fancy.
So there's no deeper purpose. It's quite hard to understand stories written these days. Even the most popular book in Sumeru back then had greater depth than anything written today.
The most popular book back then? Oh, brother.
Yes. A Bahumano researcher wrote it while researching folk legends. The plot had many twists. The world building was fantastic, and even the writing could withstand scrutiny. When it was still being published, many people in the academia were reading it. Even the sages back then all described the story as a timeless classic. The series must have concluded after so many years, right? Perhaps it's even more popular now.
Maybe it was adapted.
Is there a book like that in Sumeru? I've never heard of such a thing before. What's the title?
It's called Tales of Shahryar. Do you sell it here?
Tales of Shahryar.
Tales of Shahryar? I don't think I've heard of that before. When was it published?
About 100 years ago.
Are you pulling my leg? What sort of book can remain popular for 100 years?
The Legend of Antara is popular to this very day, isn't it? I just heard someone telling it a few days ago in a cafe.
And how old is that person?
I think I heard an antique seller on the other end of Treasure Street mention that name before. I mean, it is a book from 100 years ago. Why don't you try asking for it there?
Tales of Shahryar is considered an antique now? How could the academia have let such an excellent work of literature be forgotten like this? Traveler, Collei, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Let's meet at the antique sellers.
We're not.
These folks had better be buying a book that was popular 100 years ago. Doesn't sound like something that'd be popular now, to be frank.
A few moments.
I knew it. God, how did I not catch that on sooner? It's like as I was listening to the voice actor, I was like, I don't know. I've heard this guy before. He's voiced by Macro again. Macro Meatball.
Found it! The 5th volume of Tales of Shahryar.
I never thought this book would ever get sold.
All right, that's our teaching material secured.
Oh,
we also
brother.
now know what to call this course. Analysis of Classical Texts. After all, this book is definitely worthy of being called a classic.
Yeah, really just sounds like your usual English lessons.
Luckily, the language being used here isn't ancient at all. I can recognize a few words here and there. Huh? But why aren't there pictures in this book?
As long as the writing is good, readers won't need any illustrations to imagine the scenes. I shall thoroughly explain the difficult sections. You'll like this book, I know it. After all this time, I wonder if Aaliyah and Aziz ended up together. And who obtained the desert gem in the end? Sir, do you have the subsequent volumes of this series?
I don't think so.
Is that so? And here I thought I could finally read the ending. Never mind, I'll keep searching for the later volumes myself. Where are the first 4 volumes? Why aren't they all together?
Actually, this is the only volume I have.
Is this series really that popular?
No.
No. It's not popular at all. Rather, there's absolutely no demand for it.
No demand? Impossible! Back then, I'd come across at least 3 groups of people talking about it during a single stroll at the academia.
Something trendy from a century ago. We didn't even have the internet 100 years ago. Like, it's that kind of lengthy period, okay?
I do remember a passerby skimming through the book a few days ago. However, he simply sighed and left.
He sighed? Why would he react like that? Given the quality of Tales of Shahryar, he should have been entranced after a single glance. I'm sorry.
Too wordy,
Traveler,
maybe.
Collei, please give me a moment. I'd like to look through this book first.
Faruzan quickly flips through the pages.
Why is there another misunderstanding between Ali and Aziz? Also, why is there no mention of the desert gem at all? And a new character is introduced with no foreshadowing at all? Also, what are all these new names and terms?
Oh no, seems like the series has fallen off.
Is this really the Tales of Shahryar I know?
It's fallen off. Age did not treat it
that
nicely.
passerby reacted in much the same way.
Who was this passerby in any case?
It's Maddah from the cafe over there.
Maddah?
You know, the fellow who spends all day telling the legend of Antara.
Oh.
Since that's also a very old story, maybe he knows a thing or two about that, Tales of...
Shahryar.
Whatever it's called.
Then let's go ask around at the cafe. Huh? Madame Faruzan?
Huh? Oh, yes. Let's go.
Hey!
Who in their right mind would have any interest in this? Anyway, is there anything else here that's caught your eye? As long as the price is reasonable, I can give you this book as a bonus.
Maddah. Ow! The Storyteller.
Another day, another empty room.
He's the guy from 1001 Cups of Coffee.
Excuse me? But are you Maddah?
Yes. Are you here to listen to my story?
Well, we actually came to ask about something else.
Sorry to disappoint.
I see.
I know. It's hard.
Sorry.
It's fine. I'm used to it, more or less. So, how can this terribly unpopular storyteller help you?
That's so sad.
Do you know about Tales of Shahryar?
Huh? Tales of Shahryar? Why, I can barely remember the last time anyone talked about it. My master always talked about how incredibly popular that book used to be. However, I tried reciting a few chapters of it at the cafe, and I found that it's even less popular than The Legend of Antara.
Your master?
Yes, the one who taught me how to be a storyteller. He said that Tales of Shahryar was written by his master's master's master. He wrote 4 volumes back then, and the reviews just got better and better. You couldn't find a single person in Sumeru who hadn't read his books.
Huh, the 4th was, what, the last one?
And then? What happened next? Why doesn't anyone know about Tales of Shahryar now?
Oh, it's hard to tell when it comes to trends. One day everyone likes stories like that, and the next day their tastes change completely.
Much like the internet.
Instead of writing a proper ending, this great-great-grandmaster kept trying to extend the story.
Oh no! It's gotta be terribly relatable to some plots of things, some media.
To tap into popular trends, he added a lot of tropes. Then, starting from the 5th volume, the reviews started to go downhill.
Oh no.
How could that be? Then what happened to Tales of Shahryar in the end?
In the end, there's no ending. The great-great-grandmaster tried to write a few more volumes, following whatever trends were popular at the time, but the trends kept changing right as he published his books. He got so infuriated that he stopped writing altogether and focused on his research instead.
Ain't that a bummer?
What? So there's no ending? The readers didn't care?
Couldn't be bothered.
By that time, only a very small number of people were reading Tales of Shahryar.
That is an anticlimactic conclusion.
The only tangible thing my great-great-grandmaster left is the original draft of Legend of Antara. He also left behind many theses from his research phase. When my master talked about Legend of Antara, he'd even quote from those theses. My master is a much better storyteller than me. Even when we're telling the same story about Antara, he's always able to draw in a huge crowd. But even he won't recite Tales of Shahryar due to its ever-changing writing style and its
I can see why.
It's been 100 years. Perhaps some things I once believed to be great aren't so after all.
The story's decline might not have been due to changing trends. It doesn't matter if it's a classic or a fad. What matters is that you like it.
Yeah! Master helped me find a lot of famous books at first. But in the end, I realized that I couldn't get into them. No matter how good those stories are, I can't improve my skills if I can't bring myself to read them in the first place. I think the best books for me are the ones I like.
The problem here is not actually about improving your reading skills, but I suppose the principle is the same.
That is true. Readers' interests and trends of a time are not things that are so easily predicted. What was popular 100 years ago could be completely forgotten in modern times. And yet, 100 years, as far as history is concerned, is but a blink of an eye. If Tales of Shahryar hadn't chased after trends and instead stuck to its original style from start to finish, it might have stood some chance of gaining renewed popularity. No, even if that didn't happen, at least it would be a work that was true to itself.
Huh? Our conversation just got a lot more serious.
We should get back to the matter of our teaching material. It looks like we can't use Tales of Shahryar now.
How about the Legend of Antara then?
No, it's much too old. Collei, you found a book that you liked at the bookstall, yes?
Yes, but I don't really...
Then we'll use that book as our teaching material.
Oh shit.
Now that I think about it, using a book that you like is the most suitable choice for teaching you how to read.
Oh boy.
As for the academia,
hell yeah.
as long as we come up with an appropriate course name, we should be able to get away with this.
I propose appreciation of popular literature. Perhaps analysis of popular literature might do the trick.
My, it sounds like you've dealt with the academia before. Let's go with that. But if I wish to use it as teaching material, I have to read it first.
Huh?
It's a good chance for you to catch up with modern trends.
Speaking of which, other than third eye of perception and illusory mirror, I also espy some unfamiliar phrases from the reader's messages at the back of the book. Such things as, even if it reminds me of my dark history, I still can't help but be drawn in by the story. And the author has written all the things that I only dare whisper into a tree hollow.
Oh, Collei?
Why would a monster leave a note in a tree hollow deep in the Avidia forest? I thought we moved on from this topic. It was just a coincidence. A lot of people write down their secrets and hide them in tree hollows. It's not a big deal at all.
Is that you?
Why do people use dark history to refer to awkward or embarrassing memories? Is this some slang that was invented in the last century?
Collei, you still say you're not a fan, huh?
Oh, I can tell you what that's all about. Apparently, in their youth, some people used to imagine themselves as someone burdened by fate, fighting against the world, etc. But as they grew older, they started to become embarrassed by such memories. Some would write those fantasies into novels, while others would entrust such tales to tree hollows.
Maddah, you know, I suddenly have the urge to hear a story about Antara.
Yeah, change the subject.
Huh? Why so suddenly?
I think we can ignore the whole dark history thing just for now. It's good to reminisce as an old tale in a while.
I knew it. There will always be people who love the golden oldies.
Golden
now,
oldies?
Let me tell you all about the ancient hero, Antara.
I guess, no Onibudo, huh? Stories of the past, tales of the past remain radiant even now. Would that conclude our story with Faruzan? Yes, it would. Personally though, I like this story arc a bit more than the rest. This one I've got to say is the funniest, and this one is more of just a light-hearted, slice of life one. What I was interested more about was this, where we delved more into Faruzan as herself. Especially this one. This ending has gotta be my favorite out of all of these. I'm kind of a sucker for like the heartfelt, touching ones, A good slice of life and like comedic ending is fun and fine once in a while, but I like these more, Has more depth and emotion. This one, oh man. What an interesting hangout. Because for one, Faruzan herself is a very mysterious character. Her backstory is just tragic, You think someone like Dory, someone like Dory also has like a very tragic backstory. But here, it's even worse because Faruzan lost everyone she cared about. Well, everyone that she knew, she loved and cared about back then. Obviously, she has us now and all her new friends. Once she decides to open up, and but she's lost a lot. She's lost her whole family, all her friends. They've all passed on, and she had to endure this whole mentally deteriorating experience of her being trapped in that ruin. That is just horrible. That's gotta be detrimental. But yeah, I guess she's found her new persona. For what it is, it actually told me a lot of what I wanted to know about Faruzan, which is what I hoped many of these hangouts would be like. It delivered. It definitely delivered. I'm pretty satisfied with this. But hey, let me know which ending was your favorite, which of the 5. I personally loved the last one, where we keep the reveal of Tamimi as a secret, and we welcome Faruzan back home. That moment was like a really warm, message to her. It's like, you haven't lost all of it. Like, I mean, you've lost a lot, but you have... That hole can be patched up. Let me know yours down in the comments. The next hangout I want to play is Collei's. Collei deserves her own hangout, even though she's had starred in about 3 events ever since. But still, she deserves her own hangout. Anyways, hey, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.